Hello chess enthusiasts, my name is Miha and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel. So at the Airthings tournament knockout system has begun. In the quarterfinals there is a duel between Eric Hansen and Andrey Esipenko after two draws. In the third game Andrey Esipenko had white pieces and he started with e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5 and knight to f6, and we have Berlin defense of Rui Lopez or Spanish game. And now white plays d3, black plays bishop to c5, and now white plays according to the theory, bishop captures on c6, d pawn recaptures. You might think that this pawn on e5 is for free, but if knight captures on e5, we have queen to d4, and now white can either choose mate on f2 or black grab this knight on e5. So in the game, white castles kingside. Now, trick from before doesn't work anymore, so black defends the e-pawn with knight to d7, and now white plays c3, preparing this d4 pawn push, and this is what happened in the game. Black castles kingside, and now white plays d4. Now, if black captures on d4, c-pawn recaptured, and here white gains a very strong center, so black keeps the tension. Bishop to d6 was played, and now bishop goes to g5, attacking queen on d8. Black defends with f6, attacking bishop. Bishop has more options of retreating, and white has decided to play bishop to h4, and now black plays queen to e8. Of course, once this pawn is gone, for example, if e-pawn captures on d4, black simply grabs this defenseless pawn on e4, so white defends with knight from b goes to d2, and now black responds with b5, taking action on the queen side. White immediately counteracts with a4, threatening to grab this pawn on b5, and after black recaptures, we have queen to b3, check, and also attack on this pawn on b5. So black plays king to h8, removing king from direct check, and now white plays rook to e1, extracting queen here on e8, and now black continues the action on the queen side. a5 was played, bishop goes to g3, and now black plays knight goes to b6, double attack on pawn on a4. Of course, pawn is double protected, but if white goes to the trade, then here white loses exchange. So white defends the a4 pawn with b3, and now black captures pawn on a4, b pawn recaptures, and now black still has the double pawns along the c file, so black plays c5, hoping that white would capture with the d pawn. Well, if d pawn captures on c5, bishop recaptures, black still has a bishop pair. This white dark square bishop has literally zero mobility, so this is better for black. So in the game, white captures pawn on e5. Now f pawn recaptures, black threatens with c4, gaining more space. So white shouldn't hesitate, and indeed in the game, white plays c4. Now we have a very interesting here pawn structure from both sides. So black has a strong point here on d4. White has a strong point on d5. So naturally, these two knights will definitely try to occupy these places, and this is what happened in the game. Knight goes to d7, knight goes to f5, redeploying of the knights. Knight goes to b8. Now, if white tries with knight to e3 and then to d5, black at any time can drive this knight with c6. On the contrary, black can easily gain this access on the d4 square. To win the game, white has decided to play queen to d5, attacking rook on a8, so black removes the rook to b7, and now this pawn is 3 times attacked, 2 times defended, so bishop goes to e5. If black would decide to capture bishop with bishop after queen captures, here white is a pawn up. Even if queen captures, knight captures, white is a pawn up. Black's queen side is totally undeveloped, and here in this position white would be much better. So in the game, black plays bishop to b7, attacking queen on d5. Now if white removes this queen, then this bishop is double attack, and here black gains the additional piece. Now this was probably pre-calculated. Congratulations to the white, because this is a very nice combination. White here has no other option but to capture bishop on the d6, and black has no other option but to capture a queen now, and now bishop captures rook on f8. Now let's see where we are. For a queen, white has a rook and a light piece, an additional pawn. Well, let's see, black could capture pawn on c4, but then white captures on c5, so black has decided to capture bishop on f8. Now white has to recapture this bishop somehow. There are two ways of recapturing. Maybe white could try with e-pawn captures on d5. The position would be more solid. It would be difficult for black to penetrate, but white wouldn't have a free pawn here. So in the game, white has decided to capture with the c pawn on d5. Very bold move, but at least now white has one free pawn. So black immediately challenge this pawn structure with c6. Of course, if white captures, knight simply recaptures, and black only develops. So white plays knight goes to e3. And now black responds with h6, white plays knight goes to e5, threatening with this knight to g6, forking both king and queen. So black plays king to h7, and now knight from the third rank goes to c4. Now both knights are connected. That's good, because knights should be connected if they want to be strong. And moreover, white threatens with d6 pawn push, and later with e5, white would have two connected passed pawns, and this would be very bad for black. So black more or less has no other option but to capture on d6, e-pawn recaptures. And now black offers to trade more material. Knight goes to d7, white accepts, so knight captures on d7, rook recaptures, and white plays d6. Now this pawn on d5 is very much advanced, only 2 moves from promoting, so this is a very strong asset for white, and it's only protected. So black has decided to undermine this pawn on d6. Queen to f4 was played, attacking knight on c4. White, of course, defends with rook from a goes to c1. Well, maybe in this position one of the options for black would be definitely rook to f7, threatening to capture here on f2, at least pinning one white piece into defense, or maybe provoking some sort of weaknesses. But in this position, black plays rook goes to b7, so occupying b file. Of course, knight can capture on a5, but then queen captures this pawn on d6. And also this queen is targeting both h2 and f2 pawns. So first white plays g3, driving this queen away. And queen goes to f5. White plays rook from e goes to d1, protecting this pawn on d6, and also preparing to advance all the way to the end. So while black definitely has to protect this square with both pieces. Maybe it would be best if black would try with rook to d7. Even if white would try to drive it away with knight to b6, rook simply goes back to d8, and after d7, black plays queen to e6, attacking here both pieces. So it's not so easy. It wouldn't be so easy for white to advance with d pawn. In the game, however, black has decided to play h5, preparing h4. So white immediately blocks this h pawn with h4. And still here was a chance for black to play rook to d7. That would be totally playable, but black plays instead rook to a7, protecting this pawn on a5. And now white responds with knight goes to e3, attacking queen on f5. Well, again, black shouldn't lose the control over this d7 square. For example, if queen goes to e5, then white simply promotes with the advances with this pawn on d file. So in the game, black plays queen goes to d7, and now white grabs this defenseless pawn on c5, and black grabs defenseless pawn on a4, still keeping control over this d7 square. Black also takes this rook on d1, but before defending, white plays rook goes to captures pawn on h5 check. Now king has 2 ways of removing, and black has decided to go with king to g8, and now white plays rook from h goes of course to d5, connecting both rooks. Now this is already a very difficult position for black. Black plays rook go to d7, blocking the pawn, and now white plays rook to d4, attacking the queen, and also preparing to jump maybe with knight to c4. Well, black plays queen goes to b5, and now white responds not with knight to c4, but with knight to d5, leaving this pawn on d6 without any defense. But if black captures on d6, we have simply knight to e7, discover attack. So after king to f7, rook captures rook, king captures knight. Let's see, we have 2 rooks versus queen. Well, these 2 rooks can easily prevent this a pawn from advancing, and here white has 3 pawns on the king side who are really intimidating, so black doesn't go for it. Instead, black plays king to h7, removing king from the direct check, and now white plays knight to c7, preparing to deploy it on e7, and from then somehow drive this rook away, also attacking queen on b5. Maybe still black could try with maybe queen to e2, because then after rook to f7, black would target this pawn on f2, and also queen would prevent this knight to e6. But in the game, black plays queen to b3, the last and fatal blunder. Now white simply plays rook goes to d5, blocking this queen from attacking this e6 square. Black pushes a pawn to a4, and now knight goes to e6, threatening with knight to f8, forking both king and rook. So black plays queen to b8, defending this f8 square. And of course now knight goes to c5, attacking rook on d7. Rook has to retreat, so rook goes back to d8. And now finally knight captures this defenseless pawn on a4. Queen goes to a7, and knight goes back to c5. Maybe black could try with rook captures on d6. After rook captures, queen captures, knight on c5. Two rooks versus queen. Well, white has additional two pawns. This is again winning for white. It would only take longer. In the game, black plays queen to f7, and now white simply pushes the pawn to the d7. Rook goes to f8. Let's try attacking this pawn on f2. White simply defends with rook from the first rank goes to d2. Now let's see what black can do. Well, not much. Even if rook goes back to d8, knight simply drives it away. Black would have to sacrifice rook for this pawn, and with the two rooks and a knight, this is simply winning for white. Anyway, in this position, black had the knife and resigned the game. So I hope you like this game, I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.